if you look at the objectives that the terrorist state Russia declared at the beginning of this aggressive war, they have achieved nothing. Moreover, they've made NATO larger. They have Ukrainian forces on their land, and the only countries who they can shake hands with are other rogue countries like North Korea and Iran.
Is there anything you can tell us about these warnings of a significant attack on the US embassy that the Americans are worried about?
Hugo, we know from our intelligence that the enemy, the terrorist state Russia, has been preparing for a series of mass combined attacks. Combined meaning missiles, ballistic cruise missiles, as well as drones. So they've been preparing it for quite some time now, and we know that there are strategic bombers loaded up with these missiles now on their airfields, and there are ships in the Black Sea which are also, ready to fire caliber missiles, for example, and there are, hundreds, if not thousands, of Iranian-type Shahed drones waiting to be launched. So it has not come as a surprise to us. But at the same time, it is slightly unusual because it's not the first mass sort of threat of a mass missile attack. And the fact that today, first the US embassy, and it was followed by a number of other embassies in Kyiv, that they've issued these warnings, it does look a bit strange and unusual. But let's hope that they are trying to be cautious, and they have a duty of care to their personnel, of course, to their staff. So as long as they'll be in bomb shelter, if the air raid sirens ring out, fingers crossed, it will be dealt with by our air defense systems, and the threats will be removed.
I mean, one gets the impression over here that Moscow has been throwing everything it's got at Kyiv for some time now. Is there an understanding that the attack could be intensified, or do you think it's already been as intense as it's ever going to be because they've hardly been holding back so far?
Well, yes, this intensity, it sort of ebbs and flows, and we've seen surges of it. Then there would be periods when the intensity would be lower. But at the moment, we understand that certain things are happening on the global geopolitical scene that probably are forcing Russia to act out of desperation. And that's why, they're still hoping to break the will of the Ukrainian people with these attacks. They're hoping to, make us freeze in the winter. So it's actually nothing new, but they're not achieving much on the front lines. The casualties that they're sustaining on a daily basis are double what they were even a month and a half ago. So they've tried to remove Ukrainian forces from the Kursk region on a number of occasions, twice or three times by now, and they failed. They only lost tens of thousands of their soldiers in these attempts. So, and we are realistic. I'm not saying that things are going very well for Ukraine at the moment, because there's very intense fighting along the front lines. There are places where we have to pull back our troops because Russians are just pulverizing the frontline cities with the glide bombs against which we don't have anything, to counter them with. These are sometimes, 1,500 kilogram bombs that, when they fall within the radius of 100 meters, there's nothing that can survive. So these are the real issues, and we sometimes have to fall back. But at the same time, if you look at the objectives that the terrorist state Russia declared at the beginning of this aggressive war, they have achieved nothing. Moreover, they've made NATO larger. They have Ukrainian forces on their land, and the only countries who they can shake hands with are other rogue countries like North Korea and Iran.
The missiles that the United States is now permitting the use of, how much of a game changer are they? How much difference do they make? How welcome is that?
First of all, it is very welcome because we have been asking for this long-range capability, for this permission to use Western-provided long-range missiles for a very, very long time. And there is a very good reason for that, because and I must say that we are very careful nowadays with the use of the word game changer, because things on the front lines are developing so fast that something that can be a game changer today will be rendered irrelevant or inconsequential tomorrow. But of course, we welcome this decision because Russia is, for example, just last week, Hugo, Russia has dropped about 900 glide bombs, like the ones that I've just referred to, along the front lines, just in 1 week. Now, this is unprecedented. Now, all of these bombs, they are thrown at Ukraine from bombers that take off from airfields. They are stored at warehouses and ammunition depots within the range of these long-range ATACMS missiles. So, of course, we, by any measure, by international law, by moral rights, we are entitled to protect ourselves. We are entitled to destroy Russia's war machinery, which is killing our people on a daily basis. So it's a little bit overdue, this decision, but we welcome it, and we hope that that it actually will be followed by other countries, because there is still a decision to be made by the United Kingdom with regards to the Storm Shadow missiles, France, their Scalp missiles, and of course we continue to hope and talk to Germany, because they have the Taurus missiles, but they're still reluctant to provide them to us.
While I've still got you, Yuri, Vladimir Putin has approved changes to Russia's nuclear doctrine. It now says that an attack from a non-nuclear state, if backed by a nuclear power, will be treated as a joint assault on Russia, which is, of course, precisely the kind of situation we're talking about here. How seriously should we take this?
Hugo, I think if a country has the largest in the world nuclear arsenal, it needs to be taken seriously at all times. But at the same time, we have seen already in these more than 3 years of this war, and we just marked 1,000 days of the war yesterday, we have seen that Russia has been from day one banking on fear. Russia is using nuclear blackmail as a leverage. Russia is using nuclear blackmail as a way to freeze Ukraine's strategic partners, those who provide us with military assistance. Russia wants them to freeze into inaction and to stop supporting Ukraine, because Russia understands very well that that's the only way it can hope not to lose this war badly. So, of course, it's shouldn't be taken lightly, but at the same time, like I said, we have crossed the red lines before many times. And we have to also remember that there is a so-called nuclear club in this world, and countries like China and India, they have warned Russia on many occasions in the past that Russia shouldn't even start thinking in that direction, because this will have serious consequences for Russia, not just from the on the part of the coalition of the free nations and Western countries, but also from countries like China and India. So in sum, we hope there is sufficient number of safeguards here for us not to be worried too much at this stage yet.
Thank you very much indeed, Yuriy Sak. And Yuriy is, of course, an advisor to the Ukrainian Minister of Strategic Industries.